we'll go ahead and just warm up. We're gonna do a different warm up today. So here we're just gonna get the body moving in and out of some patterns. Now I'm gonna start from the top and I'm gonna come down on my hands and I'm gonna walk myself out. You do not have to stand back up. So I'm gonna walk down, I'm gonna walk myself out to full extension. I'm gonna bring my hand up next to my foot, next to my hands, and I'm gonna rotate up into the circle, into the ceiling, back down, and then I'm gonna walk myself in. So I'm rounding that low spine, getting my back rounded, coming back out, opening up. Okay, I want to do 5 on each side. Just coming in and out of that lizard position, opening up that chest to the side wall, shoulder blade back and down, heads following the hand through the rotation. Serene, what's going on? How you doing? Don't know if I've met you before, but nice to meet you. Also, make sure when you guys do that, you're trying to keep those hips forward. When we open up, try not to open up that hip with it. Try to get pure thoracic rotation. And then after you guys are done with those 5 on each side, I'll just get you guys popping onto your sit bones. And so for the good morning, right, we're trying to pump and warm up the lumbar spine through controlled flexion. So I want to get my hands, my feet are going to be hips distance apart, my knees about 90. And I'm going to go ahead and take my hands and I want to pull all the weight on my hands and my knees so it's not on the core. We're going to work with the breath. I'm going to exhale, push my belly button behind me, try to lay the sacrum on the ground. I just get a little bit of flexion. Think about a posterior pelvic tilt. I'm going to roll back up. Right, so we'll go 10 here, really just focusing on the anterior and posterior pelvic tilt. That's all it is. As I come back, I'm tilting, I'm loading, and then I'm rolling back up, right? So we don't want to be working with the hip flexor. I want to keep my hip at 90 and just do this. I don't want to try to tuck and work that lumbar spine, push out, and we also don't want to try to cut and round through the thoracic spine. So we keep the chest tall and pump. Little pump movement, up and back on that sit bone. Called a good morning. All right, we sit in a lot of lumbar flexion, but passively. Body doesn't like that. All right, after those 10 little pumps, just warming up. We're going to stay in that same position, but now we're going to switch it. I'm going to change my breath. So now we're going to inhale. I'm going to hold the breath tight. We're going to do basically a reverse crunch. With the same movement, I'm tucking the tailbone. I'm now controlling and I'm going down to where my end range is, where my feet want to come off the ground, or where I just completely lose my abdominal strength. So we tuck, go to that position, 1 second hold, and I roll back up. Exhale, inhale. Tuck, we'll do 10 here, then we'll 1 second hold, back up. First movement's tucking that tailbone, trying to lay that sacrum on the floor, continually following one vertebrae after. Right, this will vary from different days. You might do this one day, do it the next day, and have a completely different range of motion. Right, so don't feel upset if you can't get far. It feels really tight for you. Good job, Serena. I want you to try to tuck that tailbone a little bit more on that initial ascent. Oh, yeah, there it is. Good. We're just doing 10 here. Getting that lumbar spine, getting the core engaged. Also, if you guys have any questions on anything we're doing at any time, you can just pop on the mute and yell at me. I like that. Very good. Looking good, Serene. Looking good, John. Yeah, you can just, thank you. All right. Now, real quick, just get into the shoulder car. We're gonna do 5 on each side. What I want you to do, I wanna make sure that the sternum and I'm not rotating. So my hips, I'm staying nice and straight. My shoulder's now gonna move around the torso. So deep breath in, I'm gonna pack that air down to the stomach. We'll hold, I'm gonna bring my arm up into flexion. We're gonna let it slightly go outside. And now from this position, I'm internally rotating. I'm so white, you can't see my elbow crease, but I'm internally rotating, thumb comes down, and I'm gonna continually come through the circle. I'm trying to wring this guy out like a towel. I reach my maximum rotation, and I keep rotating. Knuckles by the thigh, I'm gonna come back into extension. Shoulder blade goes down into the back pocket. I'm gonna reverse, open up externally, and keep trying to go through the circle as big as I can. 1, okay, we're gonna do 5. Just focus on your sternum, right? Because we wanna get into the shoulder. We don't wanna just move the structure, right? It's gonna do that if you're tight. Subconsciously, it's gonna just have you move. So you make sure that sternum forward, hips forward, belt buckle forward. Rotation is the most important key of this, guys. So if that internal rotation is hurting you a little bit, focus on your shoulder blade. Have that shoulder blade relaxed away from the ear. As you internally rotate, just let that guy sink into the back pocket. We'll just do a quick 5 on each side. I know it's harder for the reps with everybody because we're going to be done differently, but I can't do timed stuff anymore. Going crazy. Looking good, John. Let that left shoulder relax a little bit. Yeah, look at that. I like the stance, Serene. I like the stance. Power stance. So while you guys are doing this, I'm going to go quickly over what we're going to do through the exercise. So I kind of do the half combo, half stretching. So a lot of the exercises that we're going to pick are going to be basically dedicated off the sedentary lifestyle. Everything that's inactive or, you know, as people like to say off, that's not true. Muscles don't turn off, but just trying to get these things firing and back into basically a whole awareness of orchestration, right? So we're going to be doing a lot of side leg lifts for the glute med, a lot of glute bridges, trying to get the glutes back popping. All right. So first one I'm going to have you guys do, glute med's like a fan, right? It has a bunch of different fibers. It does a bunch of different things. So if I'm in hip extension, meaning here, this guy's going to externally rotate as I lift. If I'm in hip flexion, it's going to internally rotate. So there's a couple different ways that we can hit this. So we're going to start. So we're going to do 30 seconds. Internal rotation leg lift. So I'm going to get down in a side lying position. I like to just use my upper arm to relax my head. Shoulder blades back and down, and my bottom knee is slightly bent so I'm not wobbling all over the place, okay? I'm going to bring my leg to about 4 o'clock. Now this is going to vary for different people. You're going to be about between 4 and 5 if my bottom leg is 6 o'clock and my hand's 12, okay? So I want to internally rotate, so pigeon toe. Or toes down, knees internally, and I'm lifting and internally rotating as I lift. I want to lift to about 45 degrees. I'm going to feel the side of the hip. I'll put my finger there to make sure I'm contracting. If you don't feel that contraction, I want you to play with where the foot angle is. Do you feel more a little bit in? Oh, there it is. All right, we hold that there. All right, we want to make sure that leg is lifting straight up. I'm not lifting the leg and kicking it back, right? A lot of you guys, if you have a weak glute med, glute max is going to want to pop in on that. All right, so we're going to do 30 seconds, lifting, internal rotation, nice and controlled. After that 30, I'm going to bring it back into hip extension. So we'll tuck that tailbone. I have my glute squeeze. I'm going to externally rotate, so toes out, and then I'm going to lift and squeeze. Control, lift and squeeze, okay? We're going to be doing a minute on On each side, different fiber arrangements. Dude, it's gonna burn. If it's not, you got really strong glute med, okay? But this is something that to take one step for my pelvis to stabilize one step, it needs to be able to do 50 leg lifts in a row for one step. So think about how many times you step a day. That's how many of these guys that you should be able to do. So very important here. After that, we're gonna go into a single leg glute bridge. We're gonna go 30 seconds on each side. The leg's gonna be lifted. We're gonna play with the leg angle. I want it to be about 90 when I drive my hips up. And I want you to be able to feel the glute, feel the heel connection to the glute. My chin is tucked, my ribs are down, hands by the side. We're gonna push up, squeezing the glute, back down, up, down. So my ribs are together. I'm not flared as I come up, right? Ribs are down, push. We're gonna go 30 seconds each side. And then we're gonna go bilateral for a minute, which is both legs. If you have a dumbbell or a weight or a cat or a kid, I want you to put it on your waist. Right? Because over time, we've been doing this for so long that we need to do more reps or we need to have more weight. Just is what it is, okay? We don't adapt from doing these same things over and over again. So if you have a weight or have a kid or something, go ahead and do that. All right, so first, we'll go ahead and get into our sideline position. Bottom knee slightly bent, top leg into that hip flexed position. 4 o'clock, internally rotate. 3, 2, 1, go. 30 seconds, lifting, internally rotate as we get to that 45-degree position. I want you to feel that glute contract, that top of the hip crease. You can feel that contraction, right? You want to make sure your fingers there to give us a little bit of tactile feedback if you can't feel that, right? We're going to try to bring awareness to these areas. Get this guy popping. If we don't use it, we lose it. I know you guys have heard that before, but that's what the brain does, especially with movement. Three, 2, 1, into the fully hip extended position. Externally rotate, lift, go. 30 seconds. Hip is now in line. I have a slight tuck of the tailbone. And my toes and my kneecap are rotated outside, and I'm holding that rotation through the lift and trying to maximize the external rotation as I lift into the ceiling. Right? Pay attention. Which one's harder for you? That's the one you need to work on more. Oh, yeah, we got puppies involved. That's how we do it. That's not a puppy. That is a huge dog. So for you, Serena, I want you to try to not have your leg come as high. Try to roll your pelvis a little bit towards me. So the top of the pelvis towards me. Yeah. Yes. And then really think about as you get to that 45-degree angle, you press into that max contraction. 3, 2, 1, time. All right, other side. Because sometimes when we go too high, that muscle stops working. We start kind of getting into the top of the hip a bit. So you can play with how much abduction that you have. Those look good, guys. All right, other side. All right, 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. Internally rotated position. Playing with that foot between 4 and 5 o'clock. Lifting up to that 45-degree angle and maximizing the rotation as we lift in. All right, if we want to try to build muscle, we want maximal function and maximal aesthetic. We want to train all of the traits of the muscle, meaning that just lifting it into the ceiling is not enough. We need to add these internal rotations at these different angles. 3, 2, 1, time. And an external rotation, straight leg. Tuck that tailbone, toes out, lift, squeeze. Squeeze. Use that finger if you need to bring awareness to the area. Especially control on the descent. All right, we don't want to just let the leg drop. We built a lot of strength through that eccentric cycle, so really controlling down. Looking good, Serene. John, looking good. Chow, I can't see you. No worries, dude. I know you're doing well. All right, 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Time. Roll right over into that glute bridge position. Now, with this glute bridge, knees, feet are going to be in line with one another. When we go to the bilateral, I'm going to have you guys just open the stance a bit. Okay, that's the second one. So, 30 seconds on each leg. Drive that heel into the ground, chins tucked, ribs are together. 3, 2, 1, go. We want to lift into the ceiling. Back down. If the straight leg, the quad's causing you a little issue, you can bend the knee. Straight up, okay? It doesn't have to be completely straight. You feel the pain in the hip flexor of the quad. Right? Big squeeze as you come up. We're trying to get out of hip extension. So when I get to the top, I don't want to still have my hips down. I want to tuck that tailbone and push through. Hey, Serene, bring your feet out away from your butt bone like a ½ an inch. Yup, now push. Better or worse? Good. Yeah, we want to try to have that 90-degree angle. 3, 2, 1, time. Other leg, go right into it. Right into that good position on the leg. Because of the angle of the body, a lot of people are used to doing glute bridge straight up and down because they're on a bench. We want to push those hips back. So it's up and back, so I'm scooping towards my face to make that straight angle. Three, 2, 1, time. Into that bilateral. We're just going to open up the stance a bit, slight externally rotated. 1 minute, go. Squeezing at the top as hard as you can and back down. I want you guys to build that connection into the glute from the heel. Now, if you guys have a weight, this is where I put it on my waist to really help drive the benefit. "30 seconds left. Keep pushing, keep squeezing. Try to make those things cramp if you can. You want to feel a hard contraction through the top of that hamstring and glute. And focus on really driving that heel to the ground to make that connection. That's a really big one. Halfway there, or 15 seconds left. Three, 2, 1, time. Awesome. All right. And now for time, last little exercise here on the circuit. As we did this in the warm-up, the good mornings, we're going to do a minute of this now, right? So we're working on the hips to start engaging. But what happens if I'm in an anterior pelvic tilt? My abs become really weak. So now we're focusing on strengthening the back, guys, get them going. But now we want to be able to strengthen now the low abs, which are weak from so much sitting. Okay, so 1 minute. The ones where we take a deep breath in and control down, we're going to do that for a minute. And I want everyone to just work at their own pace. Okay, it's not a race. I want you to just try to get to the end range. That lumbar, wherever you can control the abs, roll back up. Okay, that's all I want. All right, 1 minute. 3, 2, 1, go. Reaching the mid arch to the floor. 90 degrees in the knees. Rolling back up. Exhale. Inhale. Core tight. Tucking that tailbone. Trying to lay the sacrum on the ground. At the end, do like a little slight 30 or half a second hold, 1 second hold. Roll back up. And if you guys feel your hip flexor popping at all, let your knees kind of go outside the ankle just a bit. Not so you're so much, like you're not bad girling, but just they're not straight. You just slightly let them open up. And that'll help turn that hip flexor off a little bit. "15 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, time. Awesome. 1 minute rest and then we'll go through again. How's everyone feeling with all that? Cool. Now, my class is not really designed to like, yeah, you're going to sweat a little bit, but it's really not designed. I'm not having you guys hop all over the place, okay? I really care about your bodies and your posture, and I want to try to help bring that back. So when you guys come back to lifting, you're going to be strong in these areas that are going to cause motor pattern issues, okay? So how's everyone feeling, though? How's the hips? Any questions? Cool. If you got a question, you can just pop out at me. It's all good. I fucked this up. Oh, goddamn. Halfway through the rest. Oh, there we go. I lost you guys for a second. We're good. All right, we'll go ahead and assume that sideline leg position. Leg out in front of 4 or 5 o'clock. Internally rotated, bottom knee slightly bent. We'll go 3, 2, 1, go. Lifting that leg into the air as we internally rotate as much as we can through that whole movement. Really trying to express all of the fibers movements in the most controlled and strong manner that we can. Also, if you start to feel hard for you, tighten your core. Use all of those things that we talk about when doing cars. Right? The tighter our core is, the tighter our body is, the harder we're going to get the neighboring areas to contract. Right? It's called irradiation. 3, 2, 1, time. Full hip extension, external rotation. Go. Lifting into the ceiling, toes out as we come up, keeping that rotation through the whole movement. I try to figure out which one's hard for you. The externally rotated position is extremely hard for me. That's something that I work on a lot. 15 seconds left. Three, 2, 1. Into our bilateral position. Feet slightly wider, externally rotated. 3, 2, 1. Go. Oh, my bad. I fucked it up, guys. No one's gonna call me out on that. Goddamn. My bad. All right, other side. I got excited.
I thought you were making it fun.
I at least need one mess up per class, right? Okay. Other side. Sorry, can't neglect the sides. All right. Sorry about that. All right, internally rotated, 4 o'clock position. 3, 2, 1. Go. Internally rotating as much as we can as we lift. Finding that sweet spot on the side of the hip. Really trying to push that muscle back into the finger. Learning how to contract that area on command. Five seconds left. All right, external rotation, hip extension. 3, 2, 1. Go. Externally rotating as we lift. Good. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Time. All right. Next, we'll just get onto our back. We're going to go ahead and get the knee in line with the hip, foot in line with the hip, and then when we drive up, we want about a 90-degree angle in the foot. You can play with how far that is away, with how much tension. You can also just do one with your foot as close as you can, and just see that I can't go into as much extension as I could with my foot out. Okay, so just try to play with yourself for that. All right, 30 seconds on each side. 3, 2, 1. Go. Scoop the pelvis, pressing that heel, squeezing the glute as much as we can. Bringing the back down to the floor. Chin's tucked, the ribs are down. Good. 15 seconds left. Good job, John. 3, 2, 1. Other leg. Go. Driving that hip into the ceiling, squeezing the glute. Ribs and hips together, chin is tucked. As you're looking down the torso. Three, 2, 1. Go into the bilateral, feet wide, 1 minute. Drive it up into the ceiling. If you've got a weight, go ahead and put that on your waist. Driving the hips, scooping that tailbone. Huge squeeze of the glutes here. I like to give it a 1 second squeeze. Halfway there. Keep grinding, keep squeezing. Try to make the best connection you can with your head in that area. Can you contract that glute on command? Higher glutes, serene, higher, and push those hips. 3, 2, 1. Time. All right. How's everyone doing there? Awesome. So we ended right on like the half-hour mark. I'm just going to go ahead and take it right into the stretches and the posture so we can do that for a little longer. Okay. First thing I want to get into pectineus real quick. Let's get the hardest guy out the way here. So if you guys are going to have your knee down on the ground, if your knee hurts, put something there. If you can manage, if it's not too painful, you're just kind of like, it's a little bit, go ahead and have that there, because what we start doing with this, let's say I'm like tripling up my mat, right? I'm on the ground. Well, now my pelvis is off because my knee, this isn't how long my knee is, right? So it's up off the ground. So if you guys can work with no mat or as thin as a mat as possible, that's what's going to help you the best, okay? I like to just double mine, like a flat double. So pectineus, little muscle that crosses it's an adductor, but it doesn't go all the way like these guys go. You know, it goes up and over like a little band. Very pesky guy, okay? So with this movement, I'm gonna come from a double knee position, I'm gonna take a step out wide, okay? The reason why I wanna take a step out wide is I wanna get the pelvis to move, to get this leg coming at an angle so I can get the inside of my foot flat on the ground. My knee's at 90 here, and I'm up nice and tall. Now, a lot of people, when they get in this position, they're gonna wanna sag like they're in yoga like this. Body hates that. We don't wanna be passive. I wanna be nice and strong where I'm at. So I'm pushing my knee into the floor. I'm driving my upper heel, driving my heel into the ground. My hips are in one line. A lot of you guys' hips right now are gonna wanna be like this. It's just what happens when you get into a one knee position. I wanna make sure those hips are in one line and that I'm not rotated. Belt buckle's nice and straight forward. Knees at 90 here. Now what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna tuck the tailbone a little bit. I'm gonna have an initial tension here, and I'm gonna start driving the pelvis, just directional tension. So you can see my pelvis moves a little bit, and it stops. But I'm continually trying to drive that guy over, right? So I'm driving, I'm tucking the tailbone. You're gonna start to feel a stretch across the front. Does everyone feel a stretch there? All right, continually tuck, scoop the tailbone, reaching over, both arms reach, chin's tucked, and I'm pushing the crown of my head into the ceiling. So as I'm stretching and growing, my chin's tucked, I'm trying to grow through the crown of the head up, tucking the tailbone and driving the pelvis away from the down knee. External rotation on top arms, reaching out, but we're not rounding. The chest is up, nice and tall. Just a little slight protraction of those shoulders. Very slight, just to pull the fascia across those blades. 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Anyone got a question with those guys? There's a lot going on. We're using isometric tension to stretch, right? So I'm trying to stretch the pectineus. I'm tucking my tailbone, and then we're driving. And that motion is going to stretch.
And are you moving, like physically moving in the direction of the lead leg?
So, depends on how tight you are, right? So if I'm starting position, yeah, I'm gonna move a lot. But once I kind of get into, okay, that's my end range, it's not moving, right? Like I'm trying to move, but like I'm bouncing, right? I'm at the end of the fascia's elasticity. So now I'm tucking and working to try to change the composition of that tissue through tension.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is every motion that I call out is a movement, but it's more directional tension. Like where do you get tight and then continually try to drive?
Great, okay.
Yeah. Great question. All right, other side. I'm gonna take that wide step out. Inside, so knee, foot's back at 90, and my shin's in line with my knee at 90 degrees, and the inside of my foot's lying on the ground. If you can't rotate it down, just rotate wherever it stops. Right, but we're trying to push the inside of the malleolus, inside of the ankle, into that floor. Okay? Hips are nice and strong in one line. I'm gonna tuck the tailbone, 90 degrees in my knee, and then we're gonna push away. So laterally, I'm tucking and I'm trying to drive the pelvis away from this down knee, this guy, and stretching here. And pushing the hip knee into the floor. So I got the inside of the ankle into the floor, pushing. I'm tucking, and then I'm moving away. Chin's tucked, we'll reach those hands out and stretch. Chin's tucked. Pushing, breathing in and out through the diaphragm as best as you can, belly breaths. Continually tucking, continually pushing that pelvis away, trying to scoop the tailbone. We're at max contraction here, trying to stretch as hard as you can. I really shouldn't be able to talk right now. 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. When we look at pain, a lot of the times it's the composition of the tissue. Is it fibrotic? Does that area move? No, the tissue gets tight and we get a compression. So it's literally just movement, and being able to have these tissues change their composition will change a lot of pain, okay? That's why you have a lot of chiropractors. They do the Graston. They do all these mechanisms to manipulate the fascia. But it's passive. The body doesn't like it. The body likes an active input. So you actively stretching the fascia is much better than someone manipulating it with their hand. Okay? So, next is the hip flexor. This one's extremely important for everyday health, just because the psoas wraps around the lumbar spine from the thoracic spine. All right? And if this guy gets tight, it can compress nerves that mess with organ function. But we don't even know. Right, like, oh, I can't poop, I can't, it's hard for me to eliminate or process things. It can easily be from posture, but we don't know. Right, so dealing with this guy and freeing this fascia up is extremely important. So what I want to do here is from this position, a lot of people stretch the hip flexor like this. Right, they're in this back bend position here. Well, the psoas is all like a break, right? Boom, it doesn't want me to go back. So I want to have my ribs, hips, in one line, and my knee is underneath the hip to start, so I'm not into that lunge position. My knee's underneath the hip. I've got 90 degrees in my, or greater than 90 degrees in that front knee, because we're gonna move into a 90-degree position, okay? So from this starting position, I make sure, again, the hips are in one line. We're gonna tuck the tailbone, right? Remember the good mornings, the tucking, it's that first initial tuck, trying to lay the sacrum on the ground. We tuck the tailbone. I have initial tension coming through the front of the hip, okay? Now from this position, we're gonna let the pelvis move slightly away from that down knee. Now we're gonna push this knee over the ankle. So now we are in that little bit of a lunge position, but my torso is still in line with my hips. I don't have my chest up, okay? Ribs down, we're gonna come, putting the knee on, or sorry, my elbow on my knee, so torso is forward. And now I'm gonna tuck as much as I can here. And now the weight is on the knee, I'm able to tuck. I want you guys to feel that stretch. We're tucking as much as we can. We're pushing the belly button into the ceiling. Chin's tucked, we're pushing the crown of the head to the ceiling and breathing. All right, you should feel a huge stretch coming through the hip flexor in the bottom. But what I want you guys to do is try to breathe through the diaphragm and see if you can feel that guy travel up the spine. Right, big breaths. The psoas and the diaphragm are fascially connected. External rotation on the same arms, chin's tucked. We're going to push that crown of the head to the ceiling and breathe. Continually separating both knees with good tension. Tucking the tailbone, pushing the belly button into the ceiling, trying to round the lumbar spine. I'm going to get up and just watch you guys real quick. Good job, Serene. Just push your left hip forward more. You're in a little bit of rotation like this. Your open hips open. Push that guy forward. Yep, and now tuck. Yeah, look at that, over the internet adjustments. Woo! 3, 2, 1, slowly relax. Good job, guys. How's everyone feeling on that? Good. So this is what we're doing. It's going to be hard in that position, but I'm tucking and I'm trying to like round my low back into the band to stretch, because what does the hip flexor does? It does this. We're trying to do the opposite of what that hip flexor does through that stretch, right? And it might is to look like that. You had to be doing that shit for a while, right? When you're really tight, you're going to look neutral. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just about the tension that you're creating. Right? Which way are we creating that tension? That's all it is. All right, other side. So set up with these guys. Extremely easy. Knees underneath the hip to start. 45-degree angle on the thigh off the pubic symphysis or the pelvic bone. 90 degrees in the knees, and I'm up tall. And the biggest thing is just don't let your ribs flare. Ribs flare mean we're in extension through the thoracic lumbar junction. Okay? Boom, ribs down. Nice and tall. We're going to tuck the tailbone to get initial tension, and now I feel a little stretch in my hip flexor. And now we're going to go ahead and let that pelvis move away from the down knee. Knee's going to come over the ankle here, and I'm strong. I'm not sagging. I don't want to be like yoga. I want to be strong. Boom. Tucking that tailbone, pushing the belly button behind us. We come down onto that knee to make it even easier. Right, so now really tucking that tailbone. Chest is high, still chin's tucked. We're going to push that crown of the head to the ceiling. Same side arm reaches, externally rotate. Reach away and breathe. My chin is tucked, pushing that crown of the head to the ceiling. Breathe in and out through that diaphragm. Separate both knees with good tension. Tuck that tailbone. Create the stretch. We create the stretch. This is the most important part. Someone can stretch you all day. It's very easy to stretch somebody and get them loose. But we need to make adaptable changes throughout so the tissue is constantly like this. 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. All right. How's everyone feeling on those two? How do you guys' hips feel? Right. If you guys ever have an area that's painful, do an isometric for that area. I guarantee you the pain will go away. It's just movement will really heal the body for a lot of things that we go get surgery for, and a lot of these preemptive surgeries where people don't even need them. So a lot of it is just like doing our due diligence, our daily movement. You can think of it like flossing your teeth, right? Just for the joint health. Now, everyone likes this one because we're on our back. It's going to be just a basic figure 4 stretch for the glute max. And so we're going to start on our back. Back's nice and flat to the floor, okay? No room for ladder here. We're going to go ahead and cross the ankle over the high knee. This is the most important part, though. When you come and grab the thigh, I don't want you to lift the hip to grab it. Right? We want to keep the hip nice and straight. And what I like to do is actually drive my hip back with my leg, so then I can grab through here and I keep my pelvis as straight as possible. Both sides of the SI joint, or on opposite sides of the sacrum, are going to lay on the floor. I'm going to pull my thigh towards me as I push the cross knee away. If you're not pushing this guy away with the elbow, we're not stretching. Okay? Very important. I'm grabbing this to push this guy away. Equal and opposite tension. Chin is tucked, eyes are open, looking down the body to deal with the deepest layer of fascia that wraps around the brain. 3, 2, 1. If you guys feel comfortable in that stretch, and you're not having to like struggle to grab, at the end of the stretch to increase it, we're in the bottom, you pull everything, you're at the end range, you're tight, and then you do a little cow into the floor, like someone's trying to stick a straw underneath your back. It's a very small movement, but what you're gonna do is you're just gonna keep pulling the origin away from the insertion. So as I'm pulling up, then you start moving that guy the other way. It's a very advanced move, but people have done this stretch for years, okay? So if you've been doing this stretch for a while and you feel like it's very nice and open, add that little bit of anterior pelvic tilt, all right? Okay, other side. Go ahead and get that ankle crossed over the knee. We're gonna bring that knee towards the face, grabbing the ankle, pulling towards the face, making sure that pelvis does not move. That will push that cross knee away with the elbow, chin is tucked. Reaching the neck to the floor as we push the crown of the head away. If you feel comfortable here, we'll do a little bit of an anterior pelvic tilt. Nothing crazy, it's just a little bit of millimeters of movement. Three, two, one. All right. Go ahead and relax your legs for a second. Just take a couple breaths. We're going to go back to the other side. We'll do one more on each side there. All right. We'll start with the side that we just stretched. So we'll go right back into that side. We're going to grab that thigh, keeping the back nice and flat on the floor, chin's tucked, hips are in one line, and we're going to push that cross knee away as we pull in. Keep pulling, keep pushing, equal and opposite tension. When you get to the end, if you can do a little bit of an anterior pelvic tilt, a little bit of a cow. 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. That one's just hard if you're sweating. Sometimes it's really hard to hold on to the leg and stuff. So you can also use like a towel and kind of like, you can arrange a bunch of apparatuses to help you with that. You can also use a wall. It's my favorite one. So you kind of find out how far away you need to be from the wall. I put my leg up the wall, and so I don't have to grab it. I kind of just push away, and then I can use my foot on the wall to drive myself back. So you gotta have to play with how far away you are, but it helps a lot if you can't grab that. All right, other side, last side. We'll go ahead and cross the ankle. We'll go ahead and bring that thigh back to the face, grabbing that thigh. We're going to push the cross knee away from the body with equal and opposite tensions of the pull. So we pull and we push. Chin's tucked, we're going to push that ground head away. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Each guys up on your sit bones. Last little stretch here we'll deal with is the hamstring. With the hamstring, you guys got to create a lot of tension, okay? We're using the torso, we're using the spiral line to stretch this hamstring. So, in an upright position, I'm on my sit bones. I'm not leaned back. Right? We're rolled up on the sit bones. That in itself might tighten your hamstrings, depending on how tight you are. Okay? So I'm sitting up on the sit bones as best as I can. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to open up one leg. Knee is slightly bent, foot's outside. I don't care about the leg, right? I'm just really relaxing. I don't care. What I don't want it to do is reach up so much it manipulates the pelvis and opens my belt buckle, right? So I just want to keep the belt buckle straight, slightly bend this guy, get out of the way. Now my leg here is going to be straight in line with my hip bone. Okay, so we're working with the semitendinosus here, one of the hamstrings. I'm going to rotate the leg in. So you see at the thigh, it rotates in. I'm going to hold that rotation and push my knee into my finger. This should light up the side of the hip like we did the leg lifts. Same thing, just isometric tension. I'm sitting up tall. I'm going to pull my toes back towards my opposite shoulder. And I've got a little bit of pseudo inversion. Okay? The side of the ankle is reaching away. I can feel a stretch coming down my shin here. Very important that you feel that. Right? We're stimulating the curious fascia to pull away from the body. I'm going to sit up as tall as I can, chest up, externally rotating those hands, chin's tucked. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hinge forward. As I hinge forward, I want my sit bones to rotate up like a garage. So I'm here. As I start telling you to hinge into the stretch, you're doing this. We're not rounding. I'm using the hamstrings. I want the sit bone to go the opposite way of my heel. So we're up, holding that rotation. I'm going to hinge in. I'm trying to sit up more, push that hip away. We'll do a slight rotation towards that side leg that we're stretching. Hands on the side if you need to hold to help hit the torso up. And we're just trying to sit up more and push the sit bone back more as we push the heel away. Big breaths. I know there's a lot going on here. 3, 2, 1. We'll slowly relax. Did everyone understand what's going on there?
So you're trying to not move the other sit bone, keep it stable, internally rotate the leg that you're stretching?
So yeah, great question. So I'm gonna lock that internal rotation, boom. Now from that internal rotation, we're gonna hinge back. Both hips will hinge, right? And in that hinge, now we're gonna rotate, rotate towards the straight leg. Rotate towards the straight leg. So the best way to do it is we set that internal rotation. You're gonna hinge like you're going into a good morning or an RDL to feel that tension tighten up. Now we're holding all, and now we're gonna rotate belt buckle and sternum towards that side leg. We just don't want the hand to pass the knee line. And that's gonna use the spiral line up the torso to keep stretching.
Okay.
It's all about the sit bone.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Reen?
Yes, thank you.
No worries. All right, other side. All right, so the short-winded answer for that is just push the heel away as you sit up and push that sit bone behind you. All right. Open up the other leg, legs inside with the hip. We'll internally rotate, push that knee out, toes back to the other face. We'll sit up tall. Now we're going to hinge back, push that sit bone back behind us. Belt buckle, sternum, slight rotate towards that straight leg, opposite hand. Sorry, same side hand will hold me up. And then I'm reaching away, but I'm not letting the hand cross that knee line. Chin's tucked, we're pressing the crown of the head to the ceiling, breathing. We're just trying to sit up more on the sit bones, trying to rotate more anterior pelvic tilt, or lordotic spine, extension, whatever you want to call it. Instagram booty, whatever. 3, 2, 1. We'll slowly relax. One way to prime for this too, if you're having an issue feeling it, is just standing up and going back into that position until you feel the hamstring stretch, and then you just take that into the seated position. Okay, that same kind of movement. One more on each side. We're gonna change up, we're gonna go to a different hamstring. Same position on everything, same everything. Just different position on the foot. So I'm up here, now we're just gonna pick the straight leg up, slightly towards the midline. So my ankle's almost in line with my pubic bone, hips are forward, sitting up tall, internal rotation, push the knee out, toes to the opposite shoulder, sit up tall, we hinge, same thing, slight rotation, arm down, and now we reach and pull. All right, this is dealing with the biceps femoris, more lateral, a little more angle, that's why we have to go in with the leg. This one also can lift the fibula, what we're talking about with the ankle rotation. 3, 2, 1, slowly relax. Also, these hamstrings have a lot of fascial connections to the meniscus, MCL. And so there's a lot of things going on with the hamstrings that people overlook, okay? Especially with injury, it's crazy. All right, we sit up tall, other side, open it up, hips are in one line, I'm gonna pick that leg up, bring my heel almost in line with the pubic symphysis, my hips are still forward. We sit up tall, internal rotation, push the knee out toward the opposite shoulder, external rotation on the hands, we hinge forward, slight rotation to that side, same side arm will hold me up, get tall, try to sit up more with that sit bone. Deep breaths. Three, 2, 1. Slowly relax. How's everyone hips feeling, legs feeling? Cool. All right. So if you think about like in a program, when we think about doing the postures that we're about to do, the reason why we do these stretches is to get the body in alignment as best it can. So now we can go and do these postures to create space in the desired joint, okay? So right now we're gonna deal with the SI joint and then L5-S1. So what I'm gonna have you guys do is we're gonna go to the wall like we normally do at the end of my class to help the low back, deal with the low back. This also treats the whole spine and normalizes the pelvis structures, which is extremely important. So as I talk about, right, when we sit, whether the seat has a depression, whether we have a wallet in our back pocket, the way that we sit, the side slouch, the pelvis becomes off, right? The pelvis and the sacrum come off. When the iliums are off, it moves the sacrum and that goes up the spine with scoliosis. Right? So there's multiple different classifications of scoliosis. Most of the one that I'm dealing with and people dealing with are functional. meaning that they're done from movement patterns and over time just having this structures off. They can easily be, not easily, but they can be fixed with some work. Okay, so these postures are the only postures that deal with scoliosis in an exercise fashion that has cured it in science. So, first position, I want to get my both sit bones up onto the wall. And if you have like a low back issue, don't do all what I just did. Like, don't be trying to push all that. Just go nice and slow. I'm talking to you, John. All right. So from this position, I've got both sit bones flush on the wall. Both sides of that SI joint are flat, so flattening the low back into the floor. My mid-spine, my ribs are down, so that's flat. My chin, I'm tucking, and I'm pushing the neck to the floor. So we have a vertebrae, C7. It's the biggest bump on the back of the neck. So if I put my finger on that, and I put my finger on the one above it, and I go into flexion, I can feel them both. If I go into extension, the one at top of it should slide back. That's how you know that it's truly C7, okay? But when we tuck the chin, we push that big bone prominence back. Very important, okay? So as you tuck that chin, you push that guy to the floor, it's almost like it's starting to flatten and reach the occiput away, to the base of the skull away. And now we're breathing. Second most important thing. Breathing. So spine is straight. Breathing. I'm going to open up both legs to 45-degree angle, about 90 in my knee. Okay? We want 90. If your feet or your ankles can't touch the ground with 90, we can open up a little more. Okay? As you can see, my mid-arch is having a little bit of trouble getting to the ground. Back's nice and flat. I'm going to put my hands on my knees. We're going to open up the knees into the hands, and I'm going to hold this tension. I'm going to put my fingertips on the top of my knees, and I'm going to try to drive them out of the socket, but I'm keeping my hips on the ground. So we're opening, we're driving out, and we hold those two. So now I'm trying to create space in my SI joint. We're going to reach overhead, over the chest, external rotation of both arms, reaching. We're going to reach overhead, making sure the spine does not deviate. And now we're trying to grow away, front and back of that rib cage, grow. Triple chin position, pushing C7 into the floor, pushing that crown of the head away. Opening those knees up as much as you can, reaching them into the ceiling. Back's flat, slight push to those sit bones into the wall. Breathe and grow. Three, two, one. Slowly relax. We're going to go ahead and straighten our legs up the wall to the starting position. You need to re-scoot your hips to resituate. That's fine. All right, with this position, this is L5S1. So I got my sacrum nice and flat on the floor. Heels are in line with my sits bones. We're going to do that internally rotated position that we did in the hamstring. Knees press out, toes back towards the opposite shoulder with a little bit of pseudo inversion in the feet. So the outside of the ankles reaching up. You can feel the shin contraction. Back is flat. I'm reaching those sit bones into the wall. SI joint into the floor. Chin's tucked. Again, we're going to go over our chest, one arm at a time. Externally rotating. And now overhead. Arms in line with the shoulders. Reaching away from the wall. Sit bones towards the wall. SI joint into the floor. Chin's tucked. Pushing that crown of the head away. Heels reach up the wall. Toes back toward the opposite shoulder. Internal rotation. Growing. Three, two, one. We'll slowly relax. When you come off the wall, we're going to go ahead and fall shoulders in one line so we're not letting the knees drop like this. We don't want to be in rotation. So I want to have my knees and my shoulders in line with one another, and especially when I get up. Okay. All right. That one right there is extremely good just to get your legs up on the wall. Like, Like straight first thing in the morning. Like if you're sleeping on something, you're sitting a lot, and all the pelvis is unaligned, you can literally just get up on the wall, have your sit bones on the wall, have the low back on the floor, and just sit and breathe. So like after I do a minute of that, I soften the knees a bit. I'll bring my hands into my chest. I'll have my chin tucked, and I'll just lay there. So the spine's completely flat. Sacrum and pelvis is completely flat in one line, right? They're not rotated. We don't have a hip hike. And then we're just breathing. All right. How's everyone feeling? Awesome. Anybody got
Good weekend, everyone.
Thank you. Anyone
Thanks,
got any
Jeff. Have a great weekend.
boxes or anything? No worries. You have a good day. Serena, you look very familiar to me.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
For the one that where your knees are bent, I was trying to, I don't know if my audio cut out, but the knees are, you said they're pushing out?
Yeah, so great question. So with the knees, we just want to make sure that we're not hyperextending, right?
Okay.
So if you feel it a lot in your quad, you want to soften the knee. But yeah, it's an internal rotation, and then you're holding the abduction tension.
Okay.
Right? So it's just directional tension, and over time, those are going to become really easy. But like, it's literally just that internally rotating, and then I'm lifting, but I'm not moving. But I'm just like holding as hard as I can. Like someone's trying to push me away.
But the first one where you had it bent,
Oh, yeah. Knees to 90.
so the knees are at 90, but I was confused if you push.
Yeah, push out. Yeah, so you keep the knee in line with the hip at 90, so right where you're at's perfect. And then you just have your hands on the outside and just start driving them into it. So you get a max contraction. And then you take your fingertip to the top of the kneecap and do the same thing like the femur's trying to drive out of the acetabulum. And you just don't let the pelvis leave the floor.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you do the videos for Mind Pump?
Yeah, man.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, you look super familiar.
Yeah, I know my name's a little different too, but yeah, so I do a lot of Mind Pump video stuff.
Awesome.
So I'm down to you guys. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, come check us out sometime. When we open up, I do a free class on Saturdays. If I'm able to get my hands on you, it's much different.
Yeah,
it's very hard to teach.
I've never taken Eldoa, so I'm like super curious. I did the FRC, but I'm
yeah.
more about Eldoa, so.
Yeah, if you ever want to know, let me know. Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No worries. You have a great day, Serene.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah. John, what's up?
It's going okay. I still have my little lower back problems, like you said, but you know,
Yeah. Is it getting better at all or no?
You know, as we're doing it over time, I'm getting better at getting into these positions.
Gotcha.
There was a problem in the middle of today, a little bit. I forget which one it was. I think one of the what do you call it? Bridge? Like bridge.
Yeah.
It started getting it kind of tender.
Gotcha. So with the bridge, one thing that's going to happen, John, and this happens to me all the time, but so when I'm here, if we're on the ground and we're in this anterior position, like I've got space here, we start going through time, like we're basically going into the arch the body doesn't like.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're flattening, that guy stays flat. And then as you lift, because right here, like when I have this issue, as I come back down, I tilt. And then I come here. So
okay.
You just try to keep the top, think about the ribs and the pubic bone and the pelvis or whatever together tight. And then as you come down, like that's what you're going to focus on. You're going to focus on that tuck and making the back touch the floor flat.
Okay.
And that should help a little bit if that was the issue.
Yeah, and I do want to clarify. It was when I was doing a single leg. When I was doing both legs together, it's not a problem.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
No worries, man. No worries at all.
All right.
You have a great weekend, dude.
Hope to see you on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. Take care.
All right. Thank you. You too.
All right.